1 metric ton is equal to 2,205 pounds. 12 million metric tons of plastic make it into our oceans per year. Plastic in the ocean can easily be mistaken as jellyfish and make its way into the food chain. Seabirds mistake plastics as a viable food source, leaving their digestive system to become dysfunctional. This is an example of a seabird who suffered from ingesting plastic. In this video, we will show you the negative effects of plastics on our local beaches. We traveled to several locations. Here is what we found. Singer Island was the most trashed location so far. From bottle caps to shoes, this location held it all. The amount of trash found was truly heartbreaking. Enough plastic is thrown away each year to circle the earth 4 times. The amount of plastic in our oceans could increase by a factor of 10 in the next decade. At least 8 million tons of plastic enter the oceans each year. That's similar to emptying a garbage truck of plastic into the ocean every minute. 322 million tons of plastic were produced in 2015, the same weight as 900 Empire State Buildings. At Lake Worth Beach, we found almost as much trash as we did on Singer Island, but when we were going through everything and looking around, less people came up to us and told us that we were doing a good job. The trash cans there made it really easy for us to dispose of it, and as well as the workers there too. This time we went to Loggerhead Marine Life Center in Jupiter, Florida. The people at Loggerhead did a beach cleanup, and as you can see, there are several layers of fishing line and several layers of trash. It's completely disgusting that someone could let their beach look like that. LeFou is a green sea turtle that swallowed fishing line and now is very immobile and sick. There is more microplastic in the ocean than there are stars in the Milky Way. Our next location was Blowing Rocks Preserve. There was so much trash everywhere, it was completely disgusting and uncalled for. We thought that because we had to pay to get in, that we would have more of a clean beach and less trash. And it took us several miles to walk to find the first trash can. Our next location was Jupiter Pier. It looked pretty clean from the outside, but everything's not as it seems. Microplastics are plastics that are barely visible to the human eye. You might not be able to see them, but they're there. You walk on them, you eat them, and you're the one to blame. Our next location was DuBois Park in Jupiter, Florida. DuBois Park was somewhat okay, but really dirty when you actually looked at it. You can tell here that it looks so beautiful and so peaceful, but when we got into the grass, you could totally see all the different colored plastics that were all over the floor. Virtually every piece of plastic that was ever made still exists in some shape or form. If our current trend continues, by 2050 there will be 12 billion metric tons of plastic in landfills. That's about 35,000 times as heavy as the Empire State Building. As you can see, upon further inspection, the ground was filled with so much plastic. In the North Pacific Ocean, there are 6 times more plastic debris than plankton. The amount of plastic that we saw at DuBois was completely disheartening. In 2008, a sperm whale washed up onto a beach in California. It died due to 48.5 pounds of plastic found in its stomach. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is located in the North Pacific Gyre off the coast of California, and it's the largest ocean garbage site in the world. This floating mass of plastic is twice the size of Texas.
For our next location, we headed back to Jupiter Inlet, Florida. Here at Jupiter Inlet, we saw many things that were very heartbreaking. As we walked along the pier, we saw more and more effects of plastic in our organisms. Here on the pier, we witnessed many people fishing. Little did they know what they were ingesting was already filled with plastic. Through the process of bioaccumulation, when the organism eats another organism and it goes up the food chain, plastic ends up in our stomachs. Be sure to be extra cautious as to what you're putting in your body, as it might have toxic ingredients inside. Though we did find trash cans on the pier, many holes were in the trash can, enabling plastic to get into the ecosystem. Due to the release of various toxins while being produced, plastic production is toxic to our environment. Think twice before using plastic products. We captured here a video of some birds playing in sargassum filled with plastic. This makes it extremely difficult for them to find a food source. According to scientific analysis, more than half of what the birds will eat will be plastic products. Our next location was a beach very close to some of our hearts. Palm Beach is the beach that most of us go to and was truly disheartening as to what we found. Most of the plastic that we picked up couldn't even be thrown out because it had organisms lying on it. Organisms such as the gooseneck barnacle latch onto seaweed and rocks. Unfortunately for them, they mistake plastic as their habitat and end up washed up on our shores. Plastic starts degrading after 70 years and will only fully degrade after 1,000 years. This means all plastics ever produced have not yet degraded. 1,600 plastic bags are used globally every second. Only 1 to 3% of these are recycled. The amount of plastic on Palm Beach was truly disheartening. It was tangled up in the seaweed, washed up on the shore in big and small pieces. Every 6.5 seconds, 1 million plastic bags are produced. The amount of plastic that was on Palm Beach can be closely related to having homes so close to the shoreline. Data and analysis show that there is a positive correlation between housing on beaches and the amount of trash produced. The amount of trash on beaches with housing is significantly greater than that of no housing. Scientific research shows that plastic is the #1 pollutant in the ocean. To reduce the amount of plastics in your oceans and join the effort to help this, you can use paper bags instead of plastic, reusable water bottles instead of plastic water bottles, and use long-term plastics rather than one-use plastics. If you're listening to this video and you still don't care, listen to this. Plastic debris can absorb toxic chemicals from ocean pollution, therefore poisoning whatever eats it. In fact, plastic pollution is one of the most serious threats to the ocean. Plastic does not degrade, instead it breaks down into progressively smaller pieces, never disappearing. They then attract more debris. It poses a significant health threat to various sea creatures and to the marine ecosystem. Overall, plastic is the #1 source of pollution in the ocean. People today get contaminated easily by eating contaminated seafood that can cause serious health problems, from cancer to damage to the immune system. As 70% of the earth is covered with water, people actually assumed that pollutants would be diluted and disappeared. But in reality, they have not disappeared, and their effects can be easily seen as they have entered the food chain. Here at Palm Beach, we found stuff like bottles, cans, water bottles, small pieces of plastic, to full-on beach towels left on our beaches. We also found things like baby diapers. Be sure to think of that next time you go to eat that nice piece of tuna. Also at Palm Beach, we witnessed many seabirds trying to pick up plastics and eat it because there is not a viable food source for them due to ocean pollution. Next time you go to the beach, do your part. Bring a bag and collect all the plastic that you see so it doesn't end up in our ecosystem, harming our environment. Refrain from using as much plastic products as you possibly can. Recycle as much as you possibly can. The FCC is a major conservation group that is working hard to preserve our environments and keep it nice and clean. As a human being, you need to play your role in destroying the production of plastics. Think thoroughly about your actions before doing them. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Help our environment become as clean as it was before humans evolved on this planet. Don't let us be the reason why we don't have an ecosystem anymore.
Think about how you would feel if something went around ruining our homes. You wouldn't like it at all, so why should you ruin theirs?
Growing up, I've always wanted to become a marine biologist, but now I'm afraid that by the time I get there, there will be no organisms or oceans for me to study. Over 70% of the oxygen in the atmosphere is produced by marine plants. If you want to keep breathing, do your part.